and this was something that we really wanted to do, come together and just share the information that we've been given to everyone who's interested. And my topic is, my first topic is money management. And there are so many facets to money management. I mean, you can talk about getting out of debt, you could talk about investing, you could talk about savings, you could talk about saving for retirement, college funds. So there are many, many facets. But the facet or the area that I'm going to focus on is getting out of debt. And basically doing that with a budget, having a spending plan. So I'm going to run through a few slides. I don't have that many slides, but I have a few slides I'm going to share with you as I talk about getting out of debt. And then I'm going to have some interaction, ask you a few questions, and hopefully you'll interact with me and we'll make it through this first session. Okay, the first question I want to ask you. Think about from the time you understood what money was. And that could have been a birthday card with money in it. It could be, let's see, getting money from the fairy tube under your pillow. It could be that first job that you got, cutting the grass or babysitting, or what have you. Think about the money that you got then to the first job that you had. Up until today, how much money has passed through your hands? Really, really think about it. Think about the money that has passed through your hands. Would you say it's a lot? From the time that you were a child up into an adult, think about the money that has passed through your hands. Welcome. These are my friends coming from Matson, Illinois. You come right to the front. Stand in, come right to the front. So grateful to have you here. But as you think about it, what is your reaction to that question?
Wow.
Anyone? Wow. Why?
What did I do with it?
Exactly. Exactly. When you think about from the time you understood what money was up until today, the change that you had, the birthday money, the money from the tooth fairy, all of that up until today, where's that money at? If you had been taught how to manage that money properly, where would you be today financially? Anybody?
Oh, probably said very well.
Exactly, said very well. I think about that. So it's not really about how much you make when you really think about it. It's not, even though we all want to make more money, but it's really about learning how to manage what you have. How many in here are debt-free debt-free including your home? Including your home. Let's celebrate Cynthia. Woohoo! And I'll give these folks kind of time to get in here. Have a seat. So Cynthia is debt-free except her home.
No, including her home.
Including her home. How many are debt-free except your home? Me and Debbie. Okay, so how many are except your home? Debt-free except your home. How many are in debt or feel like they're swimming in debt? Or in some type of debt?
Just my car.
Your car, okay, that's debt.
I'm sitting in most
Yes.
of my debt.
What kind of debt is it?
I said, you guys are sitting in most
Right.
of my business, this building.
Exactly. What kind of debt is your debt?
I said vehicles.
Your vehicle, okay.
It is. It's business loans. I do have some credit card debt and cars, but
Okay.
this is the majority of it.
Just my car.
Your car. Anybody else?
Just my car.
Your car. Miss Charlie? Okay. Namanika?
I just got 2 student loans.
Student loans? Anybody else? Okay. Most of the debt is usually mortgage debt, credit card debt, car loan debt, student loan debt. Some people have medical debt, payday loan debt, and I put on here traffic ticket debt because a lot of young people, I find, get traffic tickets and do not pay them. They just, believe that they're just going to disappear, and that's a big one. You're smiling. What is that smile for?
I will have to change from traffic to toll road. I do have some toll roads now.
You know they made it easy for you.
Go online and pay those toll road debts. But these are the debts. And our nation that's the norm. When you're in debt, that is the norm for our nation, basically. And what I want you to do, before I go to that one, what I want you to do, there's a handout that I gave you. And it looks like this. And I want you to take a moment and read it. We're going to read it together out loud. When you're ready, let's read. We as a nation are drowning in a sea of debt. Someone said the average person is described as someone on a bond finance highway in a bank finance car fueled by charge card finance gasoline, going to purchase furniture on an installment plan to put in a mortgage home. Okay, can we relate?
Yes.
And this is all about our nation. This is where we are. And so I'm here to say we don't have to be like this. We don't have to be in debt. We can develop a plan to get out of debt. A lot of people feel like they're in debt and that the only way they'll get out of debt is when they die. But this should not be your debt-free plan. You should strive to do whatever you can to get out of debt. And it's possible. Let me show you one more thing as it relates to debt. And I'm going to click on innocent. You have a copy of the sheet. It's where? Okay, you have a sheet, and when I printed this sheet, that's this one here. When I printed the sheet, this was on Monday. Now this is a clock that shows our debt for our nation currently. And our nation, as you can see, the U.S. national debt is $19 trillion. Now, when I printed this sheet on Monday, it was $19 trillion to $25 billion. But right now, it's $19 trillion, 31 billion. So it is constantly going up. I mean, constantly. By the millisecond, we're incurring debt. So you may wonder, okay, what does that have to do with me? If you still have a mortgage, that means that you are contributing $13.8 trillion. You're contributing to that number of debt. That's the mortgage. If you have student loans, it's $1.3 trillion. Now, the total personal debt, which is $17 trillion, that includes your credit cards, your auto loans, and your mortgage altogether. So this is an eye-opener for you to really see that our nation is in debt, and we're contributing to that debt. So I want to encourage you that, we don't want to contribute to them anymore. We don't want to be a part of that $19 trillion debt. Alrighty? Now think about it. How much have you contributed to this? When you think about that $19 trillion?
A lot.
Quite a bit. Exactly. Alrighty?
Just X
Out of here?
Yes.
There. Okay, there's a proverb in the Bible that says, Proverbs 22:7, it says that the rich rule over the poor and the borrower is slave to the lender. So that basically means that when you're in debt, you're in bondage. You're a slave. But how many know and desire to be free? Definitely. Definitely. I was talking to a friend, and she was basically telling me that she was getting ready to, she's in the process of purchasing a home. And in her process of purchasing a home, she's frustrated with all the debt that she has, and she has to get her finances in order so that she can get the loan and all of that. And she kind of described her situation as being like being a hamster, that hamster that's on that hamster wheel, just going, and not, going anywhere. And so I just kind of want to help you envision if you're in debt, you're like that hamster just running cycle after cycle after cycle, and not getting off if you don't have a plan to get out of debt. So how did I get on the hamster wheel of debt? Well, first of all, in 1984, I had my first real job. I worked for Allstate, and I was 19 years old. So I was like, I was doing pretty good, making a little money, and pretty much doing okay for a 19-year-old. And a couple of years later, I started accumulating credit cards, and I had my Discover card, I had my Macy's card, I had my, not Macy's, but Marshall Field's card, JCPenney card, Carson's card. So I started accumulating debt. And it's really interesting how our nation is set up to get you in debt right away. As soon as you graduate from college, or as soon as you graduate from high school and on your way to college, they're sending you, information on getting a credit card, or they're approving you to get into debt. So of course that means that you're getting ready to get on the hamster wheel of debt. And so anyway, I was working my job, and by 1986, I was on my way to having almost, in my lifetime, I guess I could say, about 25 credit cards. I mean, and not from that time to that time, but in my lifetime. I even had a credit card. I even remember giving a friend a credit card. And, I mean, she paid it off, but still that mentality of debt. And this particular time, though, I remember a friend taking me downtown Chicago. I'm going to really slow down. Taking me downtown Chicago, and we went to Marshall Field's for the first time. I was so excited. I was a young adult going to Marshall Field's, and walked through the store, and I saw this Gucci purse that I wanted. And I was like, I want that purse. And so she encouraged me, why don't you see if you'll get approved for a credit card, a Marshall Field's credit card. And I was like, I don't know whether they're going to give me one or not, And so I filled out the application and waited, at the counter, because, they'll do it instantly nowadays. And sure enough, I got approved for a Marshall Field's credit card. Woo-hoo! On the debt hamster wheel now. I bought that Gucci purse and some Frango mints.